Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. I'm Olakunle Kasumo. Welcome to the show where we do all things books. We talk to writers, authors, publishers, policymakers, and just about everyone in the entire book space. We've got quite an episode for you today, so please don't go away. Welcome back. People often ask me, what are you reading now? So what am I reading now? Well, I just got my hands on this book titled Leaving the Tamak, Buying a Bank in Nigeria. That sounds very scary, isn't it? Buying a bank. But it's quite an exciting book, just getting started on it, actually. The author is Igbo Ike Imokwede. Let me read the short synopsis at the back. It's a recently released book, and it's making waves, not just in the financial services sector, but just about anybody can read this and learn from it. When Igbo Ike Imokwede and Herbert Wigwe bought Access Bank in 2002, it was one of the smallest and most crisis-prone banks in Nigeria. Remember Access Bank back then. Their goal was to build it into one of the biggest and strongest banks in the country. Leaving the Tamak reads like a financial thriller, while at the same time providing a detailed blueprint for how to create a sustainable business founded on excellence, how to build and lead a winning team, and how to operate successfully in emerging markets. The author has written with stunning honesty about the setbacks as well as the triumphs that they met with along the way, providing an unrivaled insight for anyone planning to build a company or do business in the volatile but high-growth markets of modern Africa. I like books that share big dreams. Who buys a bank? Big dreams. One of the things you'll find very fascinating about books like this is, they have a way of really inspiring. And I like the picture. You can see a young boy there looking at a plane flying away, right there, up there. Exciting. My reading is very vast. I like to read fiction, non-fiction. I move from finance to history. I love history a lot. And this looks like something that will get me very excited for the next couple of days. Now, talking about big dreams in the heart of a young mind, our next guest, or our guest for today, is Senator Enyinnaya Harcourt Abaribe. He's the author of this book titled Made in Aba. I love the title. It's about a life of coincidences. Senator Abaribe is a senator, of course, of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is the minority leader of the Senate. And as a young boy growing up in Aba, he didn't see himself becoming senator of the Federal Republic, but he saw himself becoming a big man, and that was realized. You'll agree with me. Now, this book is exciting. It provides a lot of insights, behind the curtain insights in the world of politics in Nigeria. But it's not just about politics. It's about a whole range of issues. Imagine so many things that one can learn from the life of a young boy who grew up in Aba and then rose to become a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I wish more politicians, more public servants in Nigeria can write more. We are losing so much because a lot of them who have experienced a lot are not writing. So it's great for me anytime I see books like this. And this is an interesting and compelling read. Once you start to read, you hardly want to stop. Now, let me read something interesting here that he wrote. I have participated in politics in Nigeria, been scarfed, and nearly gave up. But by dint of consistent engagement, I have become reborn in my determination that politics is the ultimate instrument for good. Through enduring the bad and ugly, which can be equated to a death, I have emerged at my birth onto the possibilities of how politics should serve for good to improve our common humanity. I serve up my simple story with these insights as a contribution to making this nation a better place for all Nigerians to thrive in. Politics can be an instrument for good. It can also be a weapon for evil. So I guess it depends on who is a politician and how politics is being used as a tool. But exciting time we had with Senator Abaribe, and you are just about to enjoy that. Please stay tuned. Senator Abaribe, nice to have you on Channel's Book Club.
Thank you, Kunle.
Although
I'm glad to be here.
You said your name is not really Abaribe, but you've just embraced it because we all call you Abaribe.
Well, what can you do? The name is Abaribe.
Abaribe.
Abaribe, meaning wealth that you earn is for your friends, colleagues, brothers, sisters, family.
Okay.
Actually, you're somebody
That's...
who exudes, how do you put it now, to everyone around you.
Your wealth is from everybody around you.
Your wealth is for everybody.
For, not from. Okay.
No, not from.
Fantastic. Hold on. Nice to have you on Channel's Book Club. Great
Thank
to
you.
have you here.
Thank you very much.
You know, I'm really happy that you wrote this book, Made in Aba, A Life of Coincidences. I'm happy because, you know, I've always said repeatedly that we lose too many stories in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. You know, people go through experiences, invaluable experiences, whether the experiences are in business or they're in politics, like in your own case, different aspects of life. And they just depart and they just leave. You know, one day we've heard that they've left the world, maybe after growing old or something happens. And the stories just die or go with them.
Precisely.
I'm happy that you wrote this. Because a lot of people in politics often write this after they have left politics, you know, but you've written this right now. Is there any reason for that?
Well, it's 20 years after, because I entered politics in 1998. So this is more than 20 years. And I felt that, I needed to also document what happened and how I became what. But in thinking about doing that aspect, it was necessary for me to lay a foundation. And to lay that foundation, I have to talk about yourself from childhood to adulthood. And that's how you now had this book. I said, okay, from where I was a child to when I came up.
You know, if I have somebody, I'm not a politician, and I don't plan to be one. If I have somebody who wants to go into politics, this will be essential reading for me. I will say, hey, go and read this book, because you know it provides a lot of behind the curtain experiences and happenings, all packed in here.
Yes, because when you want to enter politics, most of the people who want to do so starry-eyed, thinking that, oh, I just go in. People ought to know that I'm very good. People ought to know that I'm very experienced. People ought to know that I'm very... And then they go in and then they fail. And then so they come out and say, why? And the next thing will be, oh, don't mind all those people. They are all thieves, this, that, and all manners of invectives are poured on politicians. But that's a process. And I also stated it inside my book. The first time I went, I failed.
Yeah, you ran for House of Rep.
I ran for House of Rep in 1998. I failed. In fact, what happened to Patutomi happened to me. I went, they told me that there was a primaries going to happen somewhere. I went there was nobody. I didn't know it would happen somewhere else. And, you know. But I learned lessons, useful lessons. And I think that some of those lessons are also put in here, which is...
That is in chapter, in chapter 6.
It was in chapter 6, yes, I put in some lessons. When you go in, never expect success.
Lesson 1.
That's lesson 1.
When you go in,
never expect success immediately. Don't look at yourself as, oh, I'm much bigger than everybody. The next lesson, of course, humility. You need to be humble. Never mind what people say. Politicians are actually the best set of people in this world. And I will tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Most politicians don't carry things to heart. You can have a political fight with somebody. You can have so much difficulty. But tomorrow, you find yourself on the same plane.
I saw that. I
That
saw that. You
happens.
wrote something like that here, that something about not having permanent enemies or something like that. I forgot your exact
You really
words.
can't, because you don't really know where you're going to meet the person tomorrow.
Ex-
If you look today and see all the people who are in one section and the people who are in the other section, you'll find really that it's a mix. And I also put one lesson inside there. One of my mentors, Dr. Gashon Amuta, said, you cannot mold human beings, new ones. It's the same set of people that you're going to you're going to always have to deal with, you know.
Yeah, I mean, your book shows clearly that to be successful in politics, you have to be very skilled in handling people. You must have a keen understanding of human nature.
Precisely. You need to really know human beings. And I can tell you that one of the things that strikes those who go into politics early is that they do not understand how low people can go in politics. And so it comes as a shock to somebody to say, really? I mean, because you can be talking with somebody today and tomorrow he's talking with another person. And he had given you all his word and you think that you can go home with it, and tomorrow, oh, he says, oh, I never had any such discussion. You would never believe it. So there are so many things that you just have to take in your stride.
I mean, Senator, it's a lovely book, I have to say. Well done. For anybody who is interested in politics, I enjoy politics. So reading a lot of the stories that are not on the pages of the newspaper, behind, like I said earlier, behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found them really
Yeah, no,
enjoyable.
but then the book is not really about politics. It's about myself.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. It's yeah, because it goes beyond politics. When I read how you described Abba back in those days, I was almost shedding tears. You know, page 53, speaking for Abba, which I was most conversant with, the city was built in a grid-like fashion so that the night soil men could function effectively without crisscrossing the township. Their routes went neatly behind the buildings and were left unclogged with vehicular traffic. Sounding on one end of the lane, you had a clear view of the trail of the service lanes. You knew to avoid it if you were not meant to head that way. Aba had pipe-borne water. Electricity was efficient. People used to cluster our living room to listen to news or watch boxing matches of the great Dick Tiger. I recall one of her neighbors was a relative of Dick Tiger. It was always part of the excitement of the boxing bout, and I can go on and on. I just enjoyed the description
Oh,
of Aba.
it's incredible. It's incredible how not just Aba, most of our cities had unrestrained growth and not very well planned, and therefore we just found things sprouting up all over the place. And of course, without the essential infrastructural services following, and so everything now broke down. So if you go to Aba today, you can't have pipe-borne water. We had. When I was a kid, you didn't need to go fetch water or anything. We had all those. So you want to wonder, what happened to the water corporation? What happened to this? What happened to that? So those are the part of the reasons why I said, maybe we need to also take a step back, ask ourselves how we got to this point. And,
But I could also see that your love for Abba and your dream of seeing Abba become even better than the way it was in the past is one of the things that drives you in politics, right? I mean, you stated as much somewhere where you said wanting to see the return of qualitative cities like Abba is one of the things that keeps you going.
Yes, let me just state that I represent Aba. That's the city that I know much more than other cities that I've lived in. And of course, having lived in the two milieus when it was, let's say, at the age of innocence, And now where it is an age of decadence, you can look at the two and determine which one you ought to feel. And therefore, doing things to see whether we can. I know that it's a very difficult thing to, recreate an urban sprawl, but you can make an effort towards making sure that things are done much better.
But while reading, I could also sense your frustration. Okay, so you see, people like us, we see you as government. You are government. When we see you, we see government. Okay, we are not in government. So I'm reading your book, and I'm seeing how frustrated you are that Aba is no longer the way Aba used to be, and University of Benin and Co. They are no longer the way they used to be. But I'm wondering, well, you are government. That if people like you in government are frustrated and one like senses helplessness, basically, then is there any, where is the change going to come from? Where is it going to come
Yeah,
from?
I can understand where you're coming from. We run a system where we have three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Usually, when people come into the legislature, you come with a lot of hopes and making assumption that, oh, when I bring this bill, when I make this resolution, the executive will follow and all that. And then you get to grips with the reality. Reality being that the executive arm are those that are supposed to do the nitty-gritty and the nuts and bolts of your life. We make the laws, make the resolutions, make the motions, make all those ones. And unfortunately, there's one small lacuna there, and that lacuna is the executive can decide to take your motion or not.
Can decide?
They can decide, yes. They will just say, well, it's an advice you're giving us.
They can decide because we live in a society that is abnormal as far as democracy is concerned,
I
right?
think they can
Doesn't
decide because there is no penalties.
but the law requires them to execute
The law
the
requires
laws
them,
that you have.
yeah, the laws require them to do so, require them to take cognizance of resolutions passed, make sure that they align themselves with it, but it doesn't happen. What we see is an arrogant executive saying, well, you can't do anything to us since you have no, because there's only one power that the legislature has, and that's the power of removal through impeachment. And that's a power that the legislature cannot just bring out at will. So that now gives the executive, well, they can relax and say, well, you guys can talk. When you finish, we do what we want, which is a big pity, And of course, Nigerians have no idea about this. And so just like you have said, you put all of us in one, all of us in one basket and say all of you are the same.
No, maybe that's why the education is important. I mean, when you see people like us who are not in politics, you probably look at us like these guys don't know much, don't you?
No, I don't think we feel so. As a politician, what we feel, well, he doesn't understand what he's saying. So, when you turn around.
That's a political answer.
He doesn't understand what he's saying.
Okay, I mean, there is also your Igbo-ness, if I may use that expression. Yeah, your Igbo-ness. It comes out strongly in this. We are a proud Igbo man, a proud Indigo.
Okay, you got the second one. The first one, you didn't get it.
Which
you called me Igbo. I'm not. I'm Igbo.
Igbo.
Yeah.
Igbo. Yesterday I was discussing with some people the difference between IGBO
and IBO.
And IBO. IBO is like an anglicized
version
of Igbo. Because the British don't have GB.
Yeah, they don't have GB.
So they just turn it to Igbo.
Yeah, they just did it that way. That is true.
Is that correct?
It's true, yes.
Okay.
Very true. So we are Igbo. So IGBO.
Okay, Igbo. Yeah. So that comes to play here. You wrote something here, page 41. I'll just quickly read that as we round up. Page 41. I am Igbo. Is that the right pronunciation?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Igbo. I was brought up to look myself in the mirror every day and affirm my Igbo origins.
No, no,
My self-directing principle in life and the compass indicating the trajectory of decisions I have made in life are premised mostly on my Igbo essence.
precisely.
Eh,
I was brought up as an Igbo man. I was brought up within a milieu that says this is your culture. And in our culture, every Igbo has a chi, his own god. So in the morning, he wakes up, he goes and he communes with his God. And say that is your essence. I actually also decry the fact that part of our essence is being lost. Well, due to modern living, due to all manners of things, and some of the things you see, especially those depicted in Nollywood movies, they're not really.
They're not really.
No, they're not. They're just fiction that people make up to sell their movies.
Yeah.
The proper one is not that.
Yeah, I saw, I got introduced to that. The Igbo man does not bow to anybody. Yeah, you wrote that, didn't you?
Precisely.
Doesn't bow to
Well,
anybody.
it doesn't mean that we do not respect
No, it doesn't mean
people.
you don't respect.
It's just that we don't genuflect for favor. Because our people feel that if I'm deserving of something, you ought to give it to me because I'm deserving of it. Not for me
to beg,
to genuflect. Then you give the undeserving. I hope you see what I'm getting.
Yes,
you give the undeserving.
Yeah.
And part of the bane of our society is that so many undeserving fellows have had, because of that, have had to be promoted above those who actually have something to offer. Yeah. So if you read Things Fall Apart, that will give you a fairly good idea of the Igbo cosmology.
Yeah, I saw a lot of. You see, that's the thing about what you've written here. I mean, I like the crisscrossing from politics to culture to tradition to human nature, a little bit into business.
Well, I couldn't do business anyway.
But you came from the academia
Yeah.
when you wanted to do your PhD.
Precisely.
Yeah, and you couldn't. And then your views on our value for craving titles.
Precisely.
And all that. I'm happy you wrote this. Well done that you
Thank
wrote
you.
this. And
Thank you. I think this may be the first. I still have to document my experience.
You need to write something specifically about politics, right?
No, of course. I will just have to do something because part of what we saw, getting into the Senate and staying this long and all that inside there, is another book coming.
Finally, Senator, please help us fix our country. All of you, all your colleagues, all of us, those of us who are outside, we are looking up to all of you guys to really fix Nigeria. Nigeria has a lot of potential.
Precisely.
And I could see that you are seeing that. You
of course,
I'm
expressing optimism. And all that we need to do is to be able to have a few good men.
You can make that happen.
Precisely.
Thank you very much for joining us on Channels Book
And
Club.
women.
And women. and women.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Channels Book Club. It's been nice having this chat with you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm sure you agree with me. Lots of insights right there in that interview. We look forward to getting your feedback on that particular interview and other issues around this program through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. As always, my name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.